Good morning from day 2. Sunday, September 11th. Just poked our head out of the tent. It looks like we're gonna have some blue skies, which is awesome. It's about 6:30 in the morning. We got real heavy rain last night. Not wind though, just heavy rain. I'd say from like 8 until midnight, it was coming down in buckets for the most part. And then it kind of eased off. And then there were just little waves of rain until the early morning, but it seems like it's kind of petered out now. Actually saw a couple stars the last time I got up to use the bathroom around, I don't know what time it was, but a little before daybreak. So now we have a big mess in the tent just from throwing everything in last night to get dry and to get warm. So we're gonna reorganize everything, get our water filtered, and then keep making our way up to Shepherd's Pass. What's up, guys? It's almost 7 o'clock, day 2. We're finally taking care of our water issues. Let me tell you, there's nothing like breaking down a wet camp on your first night out. Everything is just, all the needles and dirt just sticks to everything. Your hands start to get a little pruny again. Your tent is soaked. Just the way it goes sometimes. So luckily, do see some blue skies up there and clouds. So probably gonna need another hour to get ourselves situated here before we start hitting the trail. So it's like, I don't know, 50, maybe early 50s, low 50s, I mean. And once that sun hits, it'll warm up quite a bit. I've got my wet long sleeve tech wick. Looking forward to putting that on. That's gonna be miserable. But other than that, it's a good morning. Day 2, September 11th, 2022, Sunday morning. No sun yet. There's blue down in the valley, but where we're headed so far in the clouds, but no rain. We're just going through the pothole, a little over 11,000 feet, still climbing. Taking our first rest, gonna have a Cliff Bar, and then keep making our way up. Hoping for the sun in a few hours. Maybe this will all burn off. Day 2 update. That is Shepherd's Pass, and we're gonna switch back up there somehow. Not quite sure where the trail is until we get to it, but that's where we're going. Still plenty of fog and clouds up here, but thankfully no rain, so it's still very cool. And we're just slowly making our way up the pass. Day 2, it's about 10 in the morning, and we've made it to Shepherd's Pass. We'll be camping at this lake later in the trip on the way back. And here's the National Park boundary right here. We made it. It's definitely got cooler and a little windier up here. So I'm gonna put on my my shell just for some warmth and probably change hats. But yeah, here we are at Shepherd's Pass, and we're gonna keep on trucking after we change our gear. So one of the best parts about making up to the pass is you get a great view of Mount Tyndall right there. But unfortunately, we're in the clouds. So we'll just take our lake view instead. And interestingly, there's usually a lot more snow on this side of it that doesn't go away the 3 other times I've been here. And a lot of that's melted away. So there's that. You can see still dark clouds everywhere, but a little patch of blue the way we're headed to the PCT JMT. Normally you'll set up base camp here and go tag Tyndall today maybe. Williamson, you need a full day. And honestly, doing Williamson or Tyndall when all the rock is slick from all the rain, there's no point in that. So we'll keep hitting the trail and make our way towards Guitar Lake for Whitney, let things dry out a bit in the meantime. And hopefully we'll see some sun later this afternoon. Hopefully.
So today's Sunday, September 11th, and it's about just after 10 o'clock. And I drove about an hour from Bishop up to the ancient Bissell Cone Pine Forest. So there's a nice 4-mile loop that I'm gonna do, and I got the brochure so I can kind of learn about the trees as I go. So I'll bring you with me. Wonder what Brian's doing.
So we just started making our way from the top of Shepherd Pass, continuing on the trail, and you can see there's some blue trying to poke through, and that mountain range way in the background I think is part of the Kern Divide. We're kind of gonna keep going straight, and then we're gonna hook a left at some point on the JMT, the PCT, but we got a ways to go before we get there.
So I've only been hiking for probably like 5-10 minutes. I just got to the first overlook. I'm at about 10,100 feet, and it's just beautiful. These are all these ancient bristle pine cone trees, which some of them are over 10,000 years old. So I'll flip around and give you like a full video, but yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's a little chilly up here. When I got out of the car, it was in the high 50s. So I stuck my hat on and warm, but the clouds are coming in. So I'm hoping to make it back to the car without getting rained on. Yeah, so here's the view. I'm kind of going around. You can see there's some mountains far in the distance there. That's where Brian is. So he's off kind of up over those mountains there. But here's a view. So it's like pretty dry too. We saw some pine trees that looked similar to this on the Ray Lakes Loop. We went up over Kearsarge Pass, and I asked at the visitor center if they were related, because they look very similar. But when I looked at the map of the habitat these guys grow in, it's different. But the woman said they were a different type of pine tree, kind of like a cousin to the ancient bristle cone. So yeah, beautiful views. I think far in the distance you can see Death Valley as well, which is interesting too. So if I find a sign about Death Valley, I'll point it out.
Things are clearing up just a little bit this way. Back the way we came, still lots of gray clouds, overcast. And there's still clouds this way, but they're higher above, and we're getting some blue patches. So keep our fingers crossed we don't get rained on too badly or at all tonight. We'll see.
So here in the distance, we're on the south slope, so the trees are much smaller. My little book just said the change in ecosystem. We're coming out of ideal bristlecone habitat, but we'll circle back in a bit. But in the distance, you can see Deep Springs Lake and then the Death Valley mountain ranges behind that. So just a little bit different view from here to the Sierras. on the other side of the mountain range I'm on.
Taking a little break on the Shepherd Pass Trail. Been traversing this very cool plateau. It's just amazing up here. And we're still walking to a little bit lighter sky, which is nice. But now we have a really good view. Some of these mountains here. That is Milestone Mountain, Midway Mountain, and then the one that looks like a table almost, Table Mountain, and then Thunder Mountain in the back there. So, getting to see, that's an area I thought about. Oh, that's Table Mountain, sorry. This one is Table, and then work back, Midway, Milestone. Thought about maybe exploring those. Still might, going to the Milestone Basin. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. But I think the first stop will be Whitney. And might take a day or two to get to Guitar Lake. We'll see how I'm feeling as we keep going here. We're just going to keep heading on the trail, and we will eventually make our way to the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail, John Muir Trail Junction, and then stay on that, and maybe camp at Wallace Creek or somewhere along the way. We'll see what time of day it is, but yeah, that's where we're at. I haven't seen anyone since there was one couple that was coming down Shepherd Pass, and haven't seen anyone since.
So I was just reading in my guidebook that this bristle comb pine in front of us is probably about 200 to 300 years old, they think. It's not that big. But then I think of like, how old is that one? They don't point out the trees that are like 10,000 years old because they don't want lots of people going to visit them, but there are trees that are that old. I'm also fascinated just with the silhouettes of the dead trees. Let's see. I don't want to move too quickly, but there's one here that's just like so interesting. You think of the fire, the drought, the rain that these have seen over the years. The needles that take years to grow, and the needles stay on the trees for 20 to 30 years, which is also fascinating since most trees lose their needles more often. It's hard to tell the scale of these trees, but these bristle pines, my book says, are over 3,000 to 4,000 years old, and they're quite small. They're not huge. I would say the one that's like I'm just coming up to, I don't know, maybe 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall, but like not very robust in terms of like thickness. But they say that that's why they are thriving, these dwarf ones. They're still growing, but just where they are in the valley is making them grow slowly.
Well, it seems like we've been on the Shepherd's Pass Trail for quite a while, and we have finally got to the trail junction. Welcome to the PCT JMT. Whew, we made it. And we're gonna keep on plugging along. It's around noon. We're gonna see how far we feel like going. Probably won't go like till too late in the afternoon. Find a nice halfway point and just relax, and after all that climbing, just kind of get our trail legs back, give them a nice little rest. But I can hear the river. I know there's an established campsite coming up. We're gonna go by that and find something hopefully a little more secluded.
So about half mile from the trailhead, and the trees are a little bit bigger here, maybe because they're more sheltered. I just thought I'd give you a last look on my loop. of the trees. So it's about 12:30 and I finished my hike and I'm back in the car driving down the mountain. But this is the opposite side of the mountain. So previously I showed you Death Valley. This is the opposite side where you can see the Sierras where Brian's hiking. So you can see, let's see if I can figure this out. Okay, so that's still the mountain that we're part of. Come back into view. So you see where the clouds are in the far distance. That's up over where Brian is. I mean, he's further north than we are here, but that's kind of like the general area that he is. So it's about an hour back to Bishop, so I'm going to start my drive and check it later.
Day 2 update. We've got some blue skies and some sun. It's nice. Still a lot of clouds, but no rain. Very nice. We're over 11,000 feet. We're on the PCT. And we're doing some climbing now before we get to, I think it's called the Big Plateau Meadow. It's a pretty cool, wide open area coming up soon. Quick day 2 update. We're traversing the Big Horn Plateau. And you can see the big body of water in the distance. Everything's just wide open here. Pretty cool. All right, we're still at the Big Horn Plateau. We just had to take another video. That's Mount Russell and Mount Morganson's in the front. In the clouds there is Mount Whitney. Pretty cool. All right, so we're still at the Big Horn Plateau. Just want to show these awesome mountains here. Mount Russell in the back, Mount Morganson in the front. This big one in the clouds is the one and only Mount Whitney. And the pointy one, you can probably see just in front of it, that's Keeler Needle. Man, amazing. Now there's Whitney. We're headed for Whitney in a couple days. And then we got this amazing pond here. And these were the other mountains I was showing you from Sawmill Pass. So that's gonna be Milestone, Midway, and Table Mountain. Looks like a table. And then in the back of that, I think it's that pointy one right there. That's Thunder. So also thought about maybe heading out that way. Not quite sure, but it's so nice to have open skies, clear, and hello to Mount Whitney. We'll be coming for you soon, hopefully. So we're just heading on the PCT, JMT, and we got a cool meadow to our right here with a mountain range in the background. Pretty big meadow. So we're still on the JMT PCT, and now we have a much closer view of Mount Whitney as we're getting closer to Mount Whitney. There she blows. And that pointy one in front of Mount Whitney, right there, that's Keeler Needle. So pretty cool. As we're getting close to Wright Creek and Wallace Creek, probably camp somewhere near one of those creeks. Like we're already at like 11 miles with climbing, so ready to call it a day, even though it's a little bit early, but not too early. It'll be like 2 o'clock, probably 2:30 when we pick a campsite. All right, so it's almost 2:30 in the afternoon. We haven't hit the intersection with Wright Creek or Wallace Creek yet, maybe a half mile away, but just couldn't pass up. We just had to tent up under those trees there. We're way over 100 feet from the trail and probably 200 feet, or at least 150 feet from the water. I'm guessing that's Wright Creek coming in. But look at these views. I'm gonna have views of Whitney all night, along with Russell and Morganson in the sun. Let the tent dry out. Have a coffee, then have a beer, then have some cheese and pepperoni, then relax, then have some dinner, then sleep like a baby, and then make our way to Guitar Lake tomorrow. This is the spot. What a spot. And there's plenty of spots here for other folks, but man, I cannot pass this one up. And instead of being in a designated spot where there's a bear box, but might be more people. I did have a few backpackers pass me, but no one go the opposite direction. They all passed me. But I was moving a little slow after Shepherd Pass yesterday in those miserable conditions and just climbing today. But right now it is such a nice Sunday afternoon. You better believe I'm going to enjoy it. So I started to do a time lapse of just putting the tent up, but I'm going to take advantage of the little bit of sun that's coming through and see if I can dry out the fly and the tent a little bit before I secure it to its final location by the little trees over here. The clouds are ominous, but maybe we can get another little patch or two of sun, maybe, or we'll just be in a wet tent. I think this is the last day in the mountain forecast where it was going to be like this, and then if I can't dry it out today, I'll dry it out tomorrow, hopefully. Okay, so it's almost 3 o'clock and it feels like maybe we're going to get some afternoon rain. It just feels like rain's coming, so I'm going to go grab water real quick from the creek and get everything in the tent. That way, if the rain does come, the gear will be relatively dry, I'll be dry, and we'll have a good night. And soggy tent, but the sun did hit the fly for at least 5 minutes before the sun went away. But yeah, it definitely feels like the rain might be coming sooner rather than later. So I'm gonna chuck all this stuff in the tent and then hop on down to this creek and fill up on water. All right, here's our watering spot for the night. We just filled up on everything. You can see behind me, Whitney, pretty much in the clouds back there. Get out of the way. But yeah, it's starting to drizzle a little bit, so we're gonna head on back in the tent and stay dry. Well, you can hear it coming down on the tent. It's been enough time out here and you kind of know when rain is coming. And I probably beat it, start to drizzle just as I got all the water filled up. And now it's raining. But we are set for the night. It's a little after 3. Gonna make some hot decaf. I'll have a little snack. Get everything reorganized and resituated. And just relax, even if it's in the tent. Hopefully at some point this rain will die down. The forecast, when I took it from a couple days ago, said it should be clear skies tonight and then clear for at least the foreseeable future. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully this is our last night of rain at night, but who knows, we'll see. Well, the rain has been pretty steady for the past 15 minutes or so. So glad found this spot and got situated, because 2 nights in a row of being wet and cold is not fun. And even though I'm in the tent, the temperature has significantly dropped. I mean, I have to have a hat on. It's getting a little chilly. So this rain might last for a few hours and hopefully it'll clear up overnight. But thankfully, we have everything we need to stay warm and cozy and dry. it was so wet yesterday. I mean, my Crazy Creek chair, I couldn't even use because it was soaking wet. I didn't want it on my sleeping bag, getting my sleeping bag even more wet. But that's dried out, so fortunately, I'll be able to use that tonight. Just with the way the conditions are right now, instead of staring at Whitney and Russell and the rest of them, the Keeler Needle, I'll probably be staring at an iPad for a little bit. That's the way it goes out here sometimes. But we got some good views on the hike in. The rain held off for most of the day, which was really nice. If it's going to rain, I'd rather have it rain at night, even though it's not really evening yet, but it's close enough. So it'll probably be another early night to sleep, another early get up and go tomorrow. And I'll have to look at the map and see how far we're going tomorrow, but it shouldn't be that bad of a day at all. The only other thing is, because like it's so cold and kind of damp and just not really put me in the mood to have a beer. So I'm going to be carrying that load over to Guitar Lake, and maybe I can celebrate the summit of Whitney with 2 beers when I get back down, because I'm lugging these things around and not drinking any of them because it's just been too wet and too cold to really even want one. But that's how it goes sometimes. That's it for now. Gonna get reorganized for tomorrow, take a look at the maps, keep charging everything, and maybe we'll see you later. So it's around 5 o'clock on day 2. I'm in the tent. The skies have cleared up, at least for the moment. And right from my tent, I've got an awesome view of Mount Whitney right back there. And hopefully I'll be on the top of that in a couple of days. Pretty cool. A little bit of blue skies coming out, which is nice for tonight. But there still may be a little bit of rain coming through, and it definitely has gotten a little chillier out.